What up, everyone? This is your Digital Super Saiyan 3 back here with another video, and welcome to my March pay-per-view review. And since I am reviewing a WrestleMania, I decided to review this one because it's been 25 years since WrestleMania 13. So, yeah, I'm doing WrestleMania 13. Took place March 23rd, 1997. In Chicago, Illinois, at the Rosemont Horizon Arena. On commentary, you got Vince McMahon, Jim Ross, good old JR, and Jerry the King Lawler. You know, I've actually been wanting to do WrestleMania 13 for a while now. It was definitely in my top 5 WrestleManias I want to review. So, here we go. 25 years later, this is WrestleMania 13. So, we start things off with a 4 corners tag team elimination match for a title match that will happen on Raw is War, as you have the Headbangers defeating Doug Furnas and Philip LaFond, the new Blackjacks, aka Bradshaw and Barry Windham, and, of course, the Godwins. This was not a good 4-way matchup. I mean, Furnas and LaFond, as well as the new Blackjacks, get taken out very easily. And then it just came down to the Headbangers and the Godwins, which the Headbangers ended up winning this match. And they would get a title match on Raw's War against Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. So, yeah, nothing more to be said here. Next up, we're going into the IC title match. We're going into our Intercontinental title match for this show. Making his first WrestleMania appearance was The Rock, wrestling under the name Rocky Maivia, as he takes on the Sultan with Bob Backlund and the Iron Sheik. Oh, and of course, before the match goes on, the Honky Tonk Man comes out to ringside to do color commentary. And yes, for a WrestleMania debut, this was not a good debut for The Rock. And yes, he is wrestling against Rikishi. Yes, that is Rikishi as the Sultan. Yes, the Sultan was actually Rikishi. I believe, Rikishi, I believe in 98, we wouldn't see him again until 99, I believe, because Rikishi would debut the Rikishi name, when we got into the end of 99. I think he took time off a lot throughout 98, I believe, for the repackaging, because I believe Rikishi took 98 off, so yeah. But yeah, the Sultan was not a good gimmick. So, yeah, you have pretty much on color commentary, the Honky Tonk Man is talking crap about Rock's father, Rocky Johnson. And during the match itself, he said, "Oh, I could have given Rocky Maivia so much advice, but instead, no, he'd rather take advice from his old man." And, Rocky ends up getting the victory over the Sultan, and he retains the Intercontinental Championship. Yes, Rock was also the Intercontinental Champion. Well, he wasn't wrestling as The Rock. No, because that would come at the end of 97. Because the end of 97, he would become The Rock and turn heel with his run in the Nation of Domination. Here, he was just Rocky Maivia, because he was still Rocky Maivia at the beginning of 1997 and the middle of 1990, in the middle of 1997, and then in late 97 he would turn heel and become part of the Nation of Domination. So yeah, after Rock ends up beating the Sultan, the Iron Sheik attacks Rock in the middle of the ring. The Sultan and the Iron Sheik are beating down Rock, and then out comes Rocky Johnson from the back, and he comes to save his son, because of course Rocky Johnson isn't gonna just stand there and isn't just gonna sit there and watch his son get beaten up by these guys. And then, of course, as the Soul Man comes out to rescue his son, he ends up getting beaten down as well. And then Rocky recovers, and then he and his father fight off the Iron Sheik and the Sultan and Bob Backlund. Well, technically Bob Backlund didn't do anything. It was mainly just the Sultan and the Iron Sheik. So yeah, after that, you had the embrace of Rock and his dad in this moment. So yeah, this was probably one of my favorite Rock moments. You know, just father and son fighting alongside each other. An awesome moment, but glad it had to follow that trash heap of a match. Now we get into our next, to a backstage interview with Triple H, who has Chyna with him. So yeah, this is, I believe, Chyna. So yeah, Chyna had just debuted in the company. And yes, this was Chyna's first WrestleMania appearance. You know, Chyna didn't have that many matches at WrestleMania, because her first WrestleMania match would happen at WrestleMania 2000, and then she would have that match at WrestleMania 17 with Ivory. I mean, Chyna basically had only 2 WrestleMania matches. Because I remember she did not have a match at WrestleMania 15. No, she did not have a match at WrestleMania 15, because most of her appearances before WrestleMania 2000 were mainly her in a managerial role / corner person role, because she was like the corner person for Triple H. She was Triple H's bodyguard. So yeah, she was like a bodyguard role for most of her WrestleMania appearances. She comes out with Triple H, and he goes into his match with Goldust, and Goldust has Marlena. It was actually a really good match between Goldust and Triple H. And Triple H hands Goldust his second WrestleMania loss. His second defeat at a WrestleMania. Yeah. When you look at Goldust at WrestleMania, Goldust has never exactly won at a WrestleMania. Yes, Dustin Rhodes, a.k.a. Goldust, has never won at a WrestleMania. He never has won at a WrestleMania during his long, long career, whether it be his 2 different stints in the WWE or his 3 different stints, because he's made multiple comebacks in WWE, so to be honest, and now he's in AEW. Yeah, so this match with Goldust and Triple H, they ended up having a solid match here. Triple H gets the pedigree, and of course, Chyna ragdolls Marlena after Marlena gets knocked off of the ring apron, and she gets caught by Chyna, and then Chyna just ragdolls Terry Runnels, aka Marlena. Nothing more to be said here. So, next up we go into a tag team title match for the WWF tag team titles, and you have the team of Owen Hart and the British Bulldog, the champions, defend their titles against Mankind and Vader with Paul Bearer. So yeah, you have a heel team versus heel team match. Even though both teams were heels, they actually put on a really good match here. This was not a bad match, actually. Yeah, like, most of this match, you know, when, I believe Vince McMahon brings this up to Jerry Lawler. Oh, Stu and Helen are here. And Jerry is like, oh, Stu and Helen are here? And then he wanted to bug Stu and Helen. And Vince is like, leave Stu and Helen alone. You know, just telling Jerry to leave Stu and Helen alone. Do not antagonize Stu and Helen. Yeah, that was a lot of the run of Jerry Lawler throughout this run of his that was used a lot during Jerry Lawler in the 90s. You know, he would antagonize Stu and Helen Hart. You know, especially his memorable feud with Bret Hart, where he would antagonize not only Bret Hart, but his family as well. Oh, boy. I mean, show some concern for your son, Owen. Well, I'm pretty sure Helen is concerned about her son, as Vince would reply to Jerry. And the match ends when both Bulldog and Mankind get counted out, when Mankind had the mandible claw outside the ring on Bulldog. And both Bulldog and Mankind were both the legal men, because both Vader and Owen were not the legal men. So, yeah, it ended in a no contest double countout. So, an overall a good match, but it ended in a countout. So, yeah, I get it. Neither team jobbed out to another. So, I loved how they used this to protect both teams. Well, mainly to protect Owen and Bulldog. And yes, of course, Mankind and Vader, of course, still looked strong in this as well. So, there's that. So now, next up, it's the submission match, baby. The one reason why I wanted to talk about this show, and that is Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret the Hitman Hart in a submissions match. This is the match that turns Stone Cold Steve Austin face. This match was incredibly fucking awesome. This entire match was definitely has earned a place in my heart as one of my favorite WrestleMania matches. Like, hell, it was in my top 10 for a reason. The struggle, the story, the atmosphere, and also Ken Shamrock is the special guest referee in that match. And yes, earlier Ken Shamrock was interviewed by Todd Pettengill, and how he talked about, you know, how he taught Billy Gunn a lesson in respect. So, this submissions match was incredibly brutal, especially Steve Austin getting his head busted open when he gets rammed into the guardrail. And yes, they were still using the steel barricades. I believe at WrestleMania 15 is when they would start using the regular security walls that we would see. You know, after, you know, that would, like, WrestleMania 15 would be when they start actually using the actual security walls for ringside for each of the events. But, you know, yeah, Austin gets his head busted open, and you see his head a freaking bleeding mess. We even see Bret, heck, this one moment of the match, Austin has Bret held up by the ropes, and then Bret hits Austin in the head with the ring bell. We see chair shots be used in this match. We saw brawling in the crowd at the beginning of this match. It was just amazing. And then it ends in the iconic fashion with Austin passing out in a bloody heap of his own blood inside Bret Hart's sharpshooter. Ken Shamrock, no choice, he stops it and declares Bret Hart the winner. But then Bret went back to put the sharpshooter on Austin, only for Ken Shamrock to break him off and suplex him. And it ends when Bret gets into Shamrock's face. So, enough to be said, this was the moment that turned Stone Cold Steve Austin face. Next up, we get a Chicago street fight as the Legion of Doom and Ahmed Johnson take on the Nation of Domination's Farouk, Crush, and Savio Vega. The Nation of Domination, they come out first. Yeah, you see lots of weapons be brought into this Chicago street fight. You saw white powder be used. You saw trash cans, 2x4s, street signs. They used a lot of weapons in this match. This was actually a really good Chicago street fight. Like, you see a lot of the ringside area get torn up just as much as just like the previous match did with Austin and Hart. And in the end, it was Ahmed Johnson, and Ahmed Johnson hits the Pearl River Plunge in the ring on Crush, and Crush is the one who eats the pinfall. But the chaos continued after the match ended, and at the end of it, the LOD and Ahmed Johnson stand victorious. Even after they won the match, they also won the aftermath. So that was a really, really good Chicago street fight. Yes, and it was the second of 2 WrestleMania appearances that Ahmed Johnson would have. Because Ahmed Johnson, I believe, that he only had 2 appearances at a WrestleMania. Because he had his match at WrestleMania 12 and WrestleMania 13. So, yeah, I would think that was the best match of the 2 appearances by Ahmed. And that's enough to be said. So now, it's main event time. As the WWF Champion, Psycho Sid defends his WWF title against this man, The Undertaker. And right before the main event, Shawn Michaels comes out to do color commentary. He comes out, and then both competitors come out. I believe Psycho Sid enters. No, I believe The Undertaker comes out first, and then Psycho Sid came out. And then, right before we could start the actual main event, Bret Hart comes out. He's got a microphone. He tears into Shawn Michaels, and then he tears into Undertaker and Vader. And then Psycho Sid beats up Bret, and that in turn turns Sid face. Yeah, that would turn Sid face. Just randomly turns Psycho Sid face. And then we get into the actual match. And the actual match was not that great. It was not a good match between Taker and Sid. I mean, I would say this one is a margin better than Sid's match with Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 8. I still think, looking back between this match and the match between Sid and Hogan at WrestleMania 8, I say this match was a margin better than Sid's match with Hogan. And of course, there was also a lot of interference from Bret as he got involved a lot during this main event. Undertaker hits the tombstone, 1, 2, 3, and he's now the new WWF Champion. So, final thoughts of WrestleMania 13. Well, the second time I watched it, it's actually not that bad, actually. Yeah, there are 3 matches that pretty much stunk from this show, but there are some gems hidden among the treasure trove that was WrestleMania 13. So, yeah, 13 was not that bad of a WrestleMania. So, final thoughts, yeah, it's passable. Anyway, this has been your Digital Super Saiyan 3, and I will see you guys in April for WWE Backlash 2009. Time to change the season, baby.